Hi everyone. Today's kids get exposed to many different social trends and different norms that can be really harmful and dangerous for them. And as much as we would like to shield our kids from that, we can't really, because once our kids go out to the world, they see these things. Once our kids are online, they get exposed to these things. So as parents, we need to figure out a way to prepare our kids to navigate these challenges in a confident way. And the only way that they can navigate those challenges is by having a very deep sense of who they are and where they come from. They need to have a very strong moral compass that comes from home. And the only way that we can do that is by building a very strong family culture that is based on clear values, on consistent boundaries, and on meaningful rituals. So today I'm going to break down the 3 steps that you need to do in order to build that strong family culture in your home, so your kids are going to grow up to be confident, they will know who they are, and they can stand up to all these harmful social norms. In the past, the values of the society and the values of the family were more or less aligned. So for example, in the United States, more people went to church, and that created a more aligned society because many more people were following the same social religious norms. Today we have lost that connection from societies, and families are much more isolated from each other, and the values started to shift. Not only that, today's parents can't really rely, for example, on the school system to teach their kids their values because the system became so politicized and so radical. Same goes for mainstream media, because also mainstream media became very one-sided. So what are the different trends that I'm talking about? So for example, the early exposure to sexual content has become, unfortunately, very common for teens to get exposed to porn at a very young age. In addition to that, the trend of encouraging kids or youth to define themselves primarily by gender identity, their sexuality, or other social categories. Another example is the normalization of substance use. There is very high percent of usage of marijuana in young people. The last example that I'm going to give is that we over-pathologize sometimes normal struggles and normal behaviors. And it's not only that, it's the fact that kids have started to identify themselves by their mental health label. On top of that, we have the rapidly developing AI technology that is bringing whole new challenges into our children's lives that we didn't experience before. So for example, kids are interacting with AI chatbots or virtual companions and have less practical real-world social and emotional skills. The AI may be exposing them to harmful, misleading, and age-inappropriate content. In addition to that, AI-driven social media algorithms can amplify comparison, insecurity, and anxiety, especially for girls. And I'm not even talking about the deep fake, which is AI-generated images, videos, or audios that sound exactly the same as the figure they're trying to imitate. And that can cause cyberbullying to become much more potent. So all these crazy social norms and all the dangers that we have with AI, it's something that we cannot shield our kids from. Unfortunately, they will be exposed to these things whether we like it or not. And the only way that we can protect them from these harmful norms is by raising strong children who know who they are and have a clear moral compass that they follow. So what we want to aim at is to give our kids a sense of belonging to our family. Humans are fundamentally social creatures. They have this deep need to belong to a social group. Belonging to a group is something that increases our chances of survival. It provides protection and it ensures access to shared resources. It's something that is deeply ingrained in us for our need for survival. In addition to that, belonging gives individuals a framework for understanding the world families, and communities. Feeling connected to a group also shapes ethical behaviors. So humans are much more likely to act with empathy, fairness, and responsibility when they feel like they belong to a specific group. When our kids know who they are, where they came from, and have a clear sense of what is right and what is wrong, they can protect themselves from harmful exposures. When they encounter something wrong, it will feel wrong for them because they grew up knowing what is right and what is wrong, and that becomes part of their identity. Children who find themselves getting caught in those dangerous social norms are normally kids who don't have a sense of belonging from home, so they're looking for that sense of belonging from the outside. They want to feel that they're part of something, so they may join different groups in order to just feel that sense of belonging. This is well documented, for example, with gang members, where they say that the only reason that they are part of the gang is because they don't have a strong family connection and they felt a sense of belonging in the gang. And it makes sense if you think about it, because if you don't have that sense of belonging from your family, from the people who love you the most and are supposed to be the people that you can trust, then you will seek to find that sense of belonging elsewhere. And many times, kids and teenagers, because it's a very confusing time and they don't know who they are, they're going to follow things that may seem exciting at the beginning, but can be dangerous at the end. Okay, so now I'm going to walk you through 3 steps that you need to take in order to create that strong family culture in your home. The first step is getting clear on your values as a family. The second step is living by your values. And the third step is creating strong family rituals. So I want to break down the first step. How do you become clear on your family values? What I suggest is that you sit down with a list of values and look through the values and come up with the top values that you have for yourself. After that, have your partner do the same thing. Then sit with your partner and discuss what are your values, what are their values, what are the values that you have aligned, what are the values that you don't agree upon. If you have older kids, let's say 9, 10 and up, you can have them do the same exercise and eventually come up with values that are values of your family. I really recommend to have that list of values on your refrigerator, or maybe you can even print a nice sign that you can hang on the wall so that everybody in the family just sees those values over and over again. If you want, I created a special PDF with that exercise exactly, which I call Parenting with a Bigger Picture in Mind. You can find that PDF at www.efratamira, that's efratamira.com/values. I'll link that in the show notes as well. So after you've come up with those top values of your family, you're going to the next step. The next step is how you start living by those values. When you have the values as your moral guide, as your moral compass, all the rules and the boundaries of your family reflect those family values. This actually makes decision-making in parenting much easier because you don't have to look outside for answers. You just go back inside and check, what is my value? What is my top value? Which value is more important than another for me? And from that place, make a choice, make a decision on what to do in a specific moment with your children. I want to give an example for that. If one of your top values, let's say, is health, then what does that mean? It means that the things that you buy for your house to eat are healthy. The way that you are in your life is you're trying to keep a healthy lifestyle. You eat healthy, you exercise, you go to sleep early, you put that in a priority in your life. And then the boundaries that you set for your kids stem from that value that you have of health. So it can be what you allow or don't allow them to eat. It could be when do they go to sleep at night. And when everything stems from that value, then all the small decisions that you have make more sense because, first of all, they are consistent. They are consistent with what you have in your house. They are consistent with your behavior, and they are consistent with the boundaries that you set for your children. Another example can be if your value is the value of connection. So if you value connection, then you're going to set up your days and your weeks so you will have time for connection, whether it's connection between you and your partner, connection between you and your children, connection between you and yourself, connection between you and the broader community. In addition to that, maybe it means that you make sure that when you sit at the dinner table, then everybody has their phones down and nobody's with a screen in their hand so you can connect. Maybe this means that you limit your kids' screen time because it doesn't allow them to connect with the family the way that you want them to. So once you come out of that value, everything makes sense because it's all consistent in the way that your family is and the way that you are and in the way that you guide your children. Now remember, this doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, I'm not saying you will never eat anything that is not healthy. I'm not saying that you're not gonna go to sleep late. I'm not saying that some of the days your kids are going to be more on screens than others. We're not aiming for perfection here. We're just aiming for something to give us guidance in our parenting, and that guidance comes from us, not from an outside source. Now, I want to break down the third step in building this strong family culture, and that is to create family rituals. Now, family rituals, what they do is that they take the values that we have that we talked about in theory and they embody them in a different way. So we already embodied them by the way that we live, right? But now we want to embody them through our rituals. So I'm going to give a few examples of what rituals can be. It can be rituals around family dinners. It can be around birthdays. It can be around holidays. It can just be rituals that you have throughout your day. That is only your family's ritual. Those rituals can be connected to a broader community as well. Rituals, what they do, they give us that deep sense of belonging to our group. It's something that we grow up with. It's something that we look forward to, that we anticipate, and it transforms us. When we are part of a ritual, it helps us transform and not only know what our values are, but actually become what our values are, become the people that we want to become. Now, you might be thinking to yourself right now, I don't have time, right? My schedule is packed, it's full, I cannot get in more family time together. What I'm suggesting is that you have to prioritize because yes, our schedules are full. Yes, kids have a packed day and sometimes they go from school to sports and after school activities and then events and on and on and on it goes. But eventually you have to prioritize. You have to decide for yourself what is more important and maybe what is something that you can take off your schedule in order to put in more family time. You have to remember that this is what is going to help your kids feel confident in who they are and help them stand up to those crazy social norms out there. So from my experience, if you want kids to have a backbone, to know who they are, and to stand against dangerous social norms, you must invest time and effort in building your family culture because strong family means strong kids. I hope this all made sense to you. If you have any questions, please write down in the comments and I would love to continue this conversation. And as a reminder, if you want to download my PDF to figure out what your family values are, you can find it at efratamira.com/values. I'll link that in the show notes below. Talk to you soon.